With one line, Reacher showed why Duffy and Villanueva were the surprise highlight of Season 3. Reacher is one of the biggest shows on Prime Video, but it wouldn't be nearly as popular without amazing supporting characters. In Season 1, Reacher worked alongside Roscoe and Finley in the town of Margrave. Then, in Season 2, he reunited with Neagley, Carla Dixon, and David O'Donnell, who were members of the 110th Special Investigations Unit. While Roscoe and Finley are two of the best characters of the entire series, in my opinion, Carla and David left something to be desired. Luckily, Susan, Duffy, and Villanueva are two amazing supporting characters in Reacher Season 3. In the third season of the hit Prime Video show, Duffy and Villanueva are DEA agents at drastically different stages of their careers. While Villanueva is close to retirement, Duffy is still in the prime of her career. Despite their different positions in life and their sometimes differing perspectives on Reacher Season 3's mission, it is great to see that Duffy and Villanueva are always supportive of each other. The Reacher Season 3 finale's truck scene perfectly encapsulated Duffy and Villanueva as a duo. After the ambush at the scrapyard at the beginning of the Season 3 finale, Reacher decides it's best to drive the two 18-wheeler trucks back to Beck's mansion. While they kept a truck driver alive, one of them needs to drive the other truck. Neither Duffy nor Villanueva are trained to drive such a massive truck, but Villanueva is more confident. Unsurprisingly, he quickly proves that he's not the most capable truck driver. Even though they bicker a lot, Duffy and Villanueva both care about each other and will have each other's backs no matter what. Villanueva struggling to drive the truck in the Reacher Season 3 finale is a hilarious moment. However, for Duffy, it's very stressful. As they get closer to Beck's mansion, she gives him a hard time about his driving. They bicker for a few moments, but eventually both admit that they love each other. This brief interaction proves that even though they bicker a lot, Duffy and Villanueva both care about each other and will have each other's backs no matter what. Duffy and Villanueva may not be better characters than Finley and Roscoe from the show's first season, but they are still two of the best characters in Reacher Season 3. Reacher Season 3 is the best season of the Prime Video series yet, since it features an intriguing story and incredible action sequences. However, it wouldn't be nearly as good without Duffy and Villanueva. Duffy and Villanueva both proved to be capable DEA agents in Reacher Season 3. While Villanueva is often used for comedic relief, he also gets time to shine in Season 3, such as his intense bathroom fight in the finale. Meanwhile, along with having an intriguing storyline that revolves around her missing confidential informant, Duffy is also a great love interest for Reacher. Therefore, even though they are both only supporting characters, Duffy and Villanueva are two surprising highlights of Reacher Season 3. Season 3 of Reacher was filled with high-octane action, brutal takedowns, and a storyline that pushed Jack Reacher into darker territory. But amidst all the chaos, explosions, and bone-crunching fights, something unexpected happened. Two secondary characters quietly stole the show. It only took one line, just one perfectly delivered sentence, for Reacher to show why David O'Donnell's loyal men, Duffy and Villanueva, were the surprise highlight of Season 3. That line came midway through the season, in a quiet moment between missions. After a deadly shootout with bodies on the floor and adrenaline still fading, Villanueva turned to Reacher and said almost casually, "We're not heroes, Reacher. We just knew you'd need someone to watch your six." It was simple. It wasn't flashy, but it encapsulated everything these two were: loyal, competent, unflinching, and above all, real. The unlikely scene stealers. When Duffy played with dry grit by Anthony Michael Hall and Villanueva brought to life by the charismatic Jorge Garcia were first introduced, they didn't scream fan favorite. They weren't hulking juggernauts like Reacher. They weren't leading the mission. They were support, backup, logistics. But as the story progressed, they became far more than that. Both men were members of Reacher's old 110th Special Investigators Unit, and like Reacher, they were shaped by the military. But unlike Reacher, they'd moved on, Duffy into cybersecurity consulting, Villanueva into tactical training and private security. When Reacher called them back into the field, neither hesitated. It was that instant loyalty, not just to Reacher, but to justice, that made them magnetic. Duffy was sardonic and methodical, the guy who always had the right tool for the job. Villanueva was warm, funny, and terrifyingly efficient with the shotgun. Together, they brought a balance to the season that counted Reacher's lone wolf style. Reacher is often seen as a one-man army, but even armies need teams, and Duffy and Villanueva proved just how essential a team can be. Why that line mattered? Reacher has never been one for sentiment, and neither are the men around him. That's why Villanueva's line landed so powerfully. It wasn't a grand gesture or a dramatic speech. It was the military version of a heartfelt confession, blunt, honest, and utterly devoid of ego. The show has always flirted with the idea that Reacher is more myth than man. He shows up, solves the problem, disappears. But Season 3 peeled back some of those layers. Reacher may be tough, but even he needs someone to cover him. That one line crystallized something Reacher has rarely explored. Jack Reacher doesn't need friends, but he thrives when he has trusted allies. Duffy and Villanueva didn't try to change Reacher. They didn't whine, complain, or question his orders. They understood him, sometimes better than he understood himself. That understanding added emotional weight to the season that was sorely needed after the brutality of the cartel storyline. The humor behind the steel. One reason Duffy and Villanueva resonated so deeply with fans was the unexpected humor they brought to the show. Reacher is often tense and serious. That's part of its charm. But too much intensity can dull the blade. Duffy and Villanueva gave the audience a chance to breathe. Their banter never felt forced. Whether it was Villanueva joking about tactical diaper bags or Duffy deadpanning his way through a near-death experience, their humor made them feel human. In a world of body counts and interrogations, these two guys laughed in the face of danger, and not because they didn't take it seriously, but because they'd seen worse. Their scenes were often brief, but always impactful. Fans online latched onto their dynamic, calling them the new favorite duo, and even requesting a spin-off. That kind of audience reaction doesn't come from overexposure or flashy fight scenes. It comes from chemistry, timing, and authenticity. Brotherhood beyond the mission. Season 3's core theme was trust, who you can trust, what it means to be betrayed, and how hard it is to rebuild bonds after trauma. Duffy and Villanueva embodied that theme in the best way. When Reacher started to question everything, including his place in the world, it was Duffy who reminded him 110th doesn't forget its own. And it was Villanueva who stepped between Reacher and a bullet without blinking. They didn't need to say, "I've got your back." They just showed it. Their presence also added weight to the emotional stakes. When Reacher went after cartel leader Polly, it wasn't just revenge, it was protection. Duffy and Villanueva represented a piece of Reacher's past that still meant something. Protecting them was personal. A blueprint for future seasons. Reacher may be the star, but his story is richer when supported by compelling allies. Duffy and Villanueva proved that Season 3 didn't just need new villains, it needed new heart. With one line, Villanueva said what the audience was thinking. Reacher's power doesn't just come from his fists. It comes from the loyalty he inspires. These men didn't follow him out of fear or respect.